Hey, is this thing on? Yeah? Wait, let me test it out. So if I go over here, you can't hear me, right? Oh, you can hear me. Oh. That is what we like to call, oh God. In the biz, that's something we like to call a little bit of misdirection. Jesus. Yeah, sorry, I just got these new labs and I wanted an excuse to check them out. Now your cringe meter is filled for the day, so congrats. So a couple months ago, I posted a video in which I asked the question, how can I change my life for the better? In typical New Year's resolution fashion, I wrote down my long-term goals and I came up with a plan to achieve them. And this plan involved 4 different steps. Step 1, fitness. Working out 6 days a week to feel better about myself, at least physically. Step 2, rest. Getting a solid 8 hours of sleep every night and fixing my sleep schedule. A simple task for most people, but something I've been struggling with recently. Step 3, read. Directing my focus to books so that when I feel like wasting time, I can waste it in a slightly more productive way. And step 4, write. Starting a daily journal for myself so I can keep track of my goals and progress, and also just to get shit off my chest. Since then, I've gotten a lot of great feedback from friends and subscribers alike. Thanks to everyone who reached out to me after that video. It was so awesome to see all the support I was getting, and it definitely motivated me more to keep up with this. But now comes the real test, to see just how consistent I've actually been. To really ask myself, am I changing my life? Well, let's see, shall we? Starting with fitness.
1, 2, 3.
Probably unsurprising to most of you, I haven't exactly been working out 6 days a week, but that doesn't mean I haven't been trying. In fact, just the action of putting that goal out into the ether has made me like 10 times as consistent with working out as I was before. There's no doubt that I feel healthier. I mean, hell, I haven't gotten sick in the last 3 months, which is like a record for me. I feel stronger. I've definitely seen progress in my workouts, and I'm finally starting to up the volume and intensity. But regrettably, I'm still lacking on leg day a little bit. I know. So much so that when I went snowboarding the other day for the first time in a year, I felt like I had torn every ligament in my body. But despite all that, I know that there's still a big element missing to this, and it comes in the form of food.
All right, let's go homemade protein smoothie. We got the peanut butter on top, we got the fruits in the middle, the banana on the bottom, and then I gotta add...
I already have a really healthy diet, thanks almost entirely to my parents, shout out to them, but I haven't really done the unfortunately necessary work of calorie counting. Meal prepping. Essentially eating enough that I actually start gaining muscle instead of just maintaining it.
Look at that. Call me chef. Call me chef.
And because I'm a massive nerd and the only way I can understand things is by seeing them on a screen, I think I'm gonna make a video soon dedicated solely to fitness. Dick in your mouth. Wait, sorry, there's already a website for that, my bad. But for real, I wanna uncover some of those keys to consistent fitness, and I think the best way to go about that is by interviewing my friends. I have a lot of great people in my life that consistently work out in one way or another. I want to know why it's important to them and how they get their motivation for it, because I feel like that's something I still kind of struggle with.
Okay, so I just got done with first leg workout of the week. That shit hurted. There was a point where I was actually about to like throw up. I could like hardly walk. Everyone around me was talking about like creatine and like supplements, and I was just over here looking at the mirror. I mean, honestly, I feel good because I want to do this like twice a week so that I won't like almost pass out the next time I'm in the gym. So hit chest today, felt pretty good. I benched actually for the first time in like a year and a half. Still feeling pretty weak, but not too bad. You know, my workout partners really pushed me or helped kind of, you know, give me that extra push that I think I needed. Tomorrow's, I think, gonna be back, so we're gonna keep it going. I'm excited.
But in this giant absorption of information, I'm hoping that I can set out a real fitness goal for myself, something that will actually allow me to reach those goals. So yeah, I'd say step 1 has been a tentative success so far, but I can't let up now. Okay, so what about rest? How am I doing on that one? I can't lie when I say there are still nights that I stay up until obscene hours of the night for absolutely no reason. That being said, it's happening a lot less often. And a lot of that has to do with actually getting hired for jobs. As dumb as this sounds, I was really hoping I wouldn't have to pick up what I like to call a normal person job, at least for the foreseeable future. And as it's going right now, I really don't think I will, which is an insane relief to even be able to say that. Oh my god. Sure, I do odd jobs to gain some extra income, I walk dogs, I sing for a church choir now. Yeah, you heard that right. But I've also been getting gigs in my field, you know, filming and editing events, growing my portfolio, meeting all sorts of cool-ass people in the creative industry. Oh, and did I mention that I'm also going to Austria in a couple days? Yeah, you also heard that right. And it's for 3 weeks, and I'm getting paid. There's something magical about life, like throwing you curveball after curveball day after day, and then suddenly one day just being like, yeah, you deserve a break. And as much as this trip might throw a wrench into some of my plans, I really could not care less. I'll be working with some insanely talented and even more intimidating artists, producers, creatives, people I never even thought I would meet in my entire lifetime. So I'll do my best to grab as much BTS as I can of this trip, but I can't make any promises. I think the results will speak for themselves. Okay, I got a little off track there. I'm a little excited. Let me get back to it. I guess what I'm trying to say is, as long as I'm busy doing the things that I love, I sleep pretty soundly. Mostly because I get exhausted after a day of work, but also because I can go to sleep knowing I've done something meaningful, fulfilling, something I'm actually really proud of. And as long as that's the case, well, the 8 hours isn't quite as important to me. So let's talk about reading. For some reason, I really thought it was going to be a hard transition to get back into reading, but once I started, it's like I never left. I love that shit. I don't think I realized how much I loved it until I started doing it again. It's kind of like seeing that one friend that you've known forever, that you know you're just going to have a blast with no matter how long it's been. That's reading for me. So yeah, it's coming along. I'm actually on the last chapter of Fellowship right now, titled The Breaking of the Fellowship, believe it or not. Shout out to my guy Tolkien for clickbaiting before the internet was even a distant thought. And I've started to think that maybe I want to read multiple books at once. Not that I would get bored of any one book, but that there are so many genres out there. My house is stocked to the brim with nonfiction too. Shout out to my parents again. And I feel like it'd be pretty easy to switch from classical fantasy to, say, A History of God. It's using two very different parts of my brain. Also, just for the people that are roasting me watching this right now, I know this is like not a foreign concept, okay? Like I've just personally never really been reading multiple books at once. I like to engross myself in one and then kind of see where it goes. But as an adult, I feel like I should maybe up the ante a little bit. All this to say, yeah, I think I'm crushing this one. Time to start a book club. Writing. Now, here's where it gets interesting. My daily journal is no longer a daily journal. It's kind of a whenever I feel like it journal now. But hear me out. I don't think that's a bad thing. After about a week of daily entries, I started to feel like I was doing a chore, and I quickly ran out of things to talk about. It felt counterproductive. If something wasn't really on my mind, why write about nothing? Now, whenever I open that journal, my brain is swimming with thoughts, ideas, goals, and I get to kind of challenge my writing abilities. Basically, how do I sum up all of these thoughts into one coherent entry? And it's been really fun doing that, but I will say I think I've neglected it a little bit too much. Maybe daily is just over the limit, but I think I should be writing at least one entry a week. Because as I've been explaining during this video, a lot of shit has been happening in my life. And I've also had this sneaky thought that, if I end up having kids and those kids end up having kids before, we all die from global war or climate change or a Terminator situation, it would be really cool to show my grandkids my old entries. At least that seems like a cool thing as a kid that I never got to experience. Who am I kidding? They'd probably be too busy going to Travis Scott concerts in VR Fortnite. But not if I raise them right. Now at this point in the video, you might be asking, Gabe, what about your crippling addiction to online chess? Have you at least solved that? And to that I say, well, not exactly. I have been playing a good amount of chess, but hear me out again. I think it's a healthy amount of chess. And I might just be trying to delude myself, but let me cook for a second. Whereas before I made that last video, I was abusing, literally torturing myself by playing on chess.com until my eyes were bleeding out of my skull. Now I limit myself to 1 to 2 hours a day. I feel like I properly prepare by having a cup of coffee and doing my puzzles before I even jump into a game. And most importantly, I've been practicing moderation in every aspect of life, not just chess. And what you're about to hear is straight from an entry I wrote on February 4th. Where is it? Let's see here. Here it is. Okay. Randomly, I've learned that moderation is kind of the key to life. Like, I can't sit down for 8 hours at a time to edit because I'll slowly kill myself, but if I just take a walking or stretching break every 30 minutes, I feel fine. Or the fact that doing things little by little and taking mental breaks to entertain or stimulate myself seems to have made me better at both things. I'm starting to actually understand when people say you have to find balance in life because it truly is quite painstakingly accurate. Finding balance doesn't just mean throwing yourself into overdrive on one side to compensate for the other. That is obviously not balance by definition. But I feel like I've been thinking about it all the wrong way. Balance means that to achieve those long-term and delayed gratification goals, making time for leisure, introspection, and all the more alluring instant gratification goals is essential. At least I think it is. Because I think my brain was on overdrive for so long in senior year that I got too accustomed to being stressed about getting everything done. Now that no one is really telling me how to conduct my life, I actually have the opportunity to figure out my ideal workflow. And hopefully, if I find it, I can get the most shit done and have the most fun doing it. Man, February 4th Gabe was very philosophical. I love it. But enough about that. Now, if I didn't have this journal, I would surely still be having these thoughts. I mean, there's no question about that, but they would be sitting like jello in my gray matter, half-baked, never to see the light of day. I wouldn't be able to articulate them correctly the way I feel like I need to. And with this idea of moderation now in my head, not only have I gotten to 1050 ELO in Blitz, but I also decided to try to get better at Bullet, which is just a faster version of Blitz. And I'm almost to 1,000 in that as well. So in a way, I'm proving to myself that it is possible for me to do all the shit that I'm doing and still improve at something so extracurricular as chess. That being said, I know my limits a lot better now. If I sit at the computer and play just one too many games, I start losing my goddamn mind. And all those negative thoughts that started to put me in that rut in the first place start coming back. But now, when I start to feel that way, I practice self-control. I exit the tab, I watch some YouTube or read to decompress. I do what I feel like a functioning adult would do. And I guess if I've learned anything from this whole experience is that all these steps that I'm taking don't have to be this big monumental push. Eventually they can just start to be normal. And I think when you get down to it, that's what life really is. Amidst all this chaos, I've found time to look around every once in a while, realize where I am in this moment of time, and just kind of take it all in.
It's hard to believe that this is actually where I live. I mean, you see that? It's so beautiful out right now. I'm walking this little dog. Here's some people arguing about something. How can you argue about something when the weather's this beautiful?
So to sum it all up, am I changing my life? Hell yeah. And it's only up from here. I'll see you in the next one. Oh, and real quick, if you made it to the end of this video, you're actually in like the 99.9th percentile of my channel viewers, so why not just, give a little like, give a little subscribe, a little comment down below on your favorite yogurt brand? That's the first thing that came to mind, so have fun with that. Okay, see you later.